Hi, Deacon Jim here for our weekly Lenten reflection. We're almost halfway through Lent, believe it or not. Third Sunday of Lent is this weekend. So it's a great time to review maybe where we're at. How are we doing this Lent? A lot of us have given things up for Lent, which is a great thing. I've given up popcorn, that's my favorite thing at night. Maybe some of you have given up candy or coffee, maybe alcohol, maybe less of the internet. It's all good to give things up during Lent. It's a wonderful thing to do. And the reason I think it's important is that during Lent, those things that we are abstaining from, usually you want them. You get that urge during the day or night to, I wish I could have one of those things. So it's a great reminder during Lent. And when it happens during the day or night, what it does is it brings us closer to Jesus. That's why we're doing these things. It reminds us that we're in Lent. And many times, by doing these things, it may stir us to take some other actions. Maybe we reconcile with someone we haven't seen in a long time. Maybe we decide it's time to go to reconciliation and confession. Maybe we decide it's time to help someone in need. All these things happen because of this sort of fasting that we're doing during Lent. This Sunday in our gospel reading, we hear about the woman at the well. And Jesus confronts her about her life and how she's been living it and her faith. And what happens is she changes and she finds God. I'd like to tell you a little family story now. My father, he died way back in 1985, pretty young, like 63 years old. And my dad had one sister. So as it turns out, that's my only aunt. My mom had no siblings. My dad had no brothers, but just one sister. So I only had one aunt from my mom and dad. Sadly, I've not seen her in 30 years. There were some problems back then when my grandmother died, and because of some family issues, and we did not communicate for many, many years. My brother and sister did the same thing, and unfortunately, there was a lot of anger there 30 years ago on some things that happened. A number of years went by, and I just felt this prompting at one point. Something needed to be done here. So I started sending her a Christmas card with our family on a picture of us with the kids and the grandkids. And I would start to send that every year to her with a note. And then one Christmas, sure enough, she mailed back a card to us with some nice things about how she was doing. Matter of fact, she had one year a picture of her when she turned 85 with the birthday cake. So it was really neat. Slowly, my brother and my sister, they also sent letters to her. So this anger that we had been holding on to for years started to go away. A year ago, I felt another prompting. It's like the Holy Spirit working inside of you, saying, why don't you call her? And this was difficult to do, believe it or not. So one day I called her, and it was really neat. The day I called her, she picked up the phone and she's like, it was so great that I called her because she was in a really lonely situation that day. Just some things were happening with her kids, and she said, I can't believe you're calling on this day. So we talked, for a long time, and we exchanged some great stories and thoughts to each other. Look how God is working. That's after 29 years. My brother, he lives in Florida, and so does my aunt. They're probably an hour away from each other. 2 weeks ago, we visited my brother. My sister also came down from Michigan. So we all agreed it's time to go visit her if she would let us, if she was okay with that. So I called her up and I said, hey, I'll be down there, pretty soon. Would it be okay if we visited her? And she just said, that would be wonderful. She would really like that. So we went over, drove up, hour away. Her son was there, who's my first cousin, who I also have not seen in 30 years. So there she was standing there, 97 years old. She still lives in the house that she moved down there to 45 years ago. She lives there alone. She looks great. We talked, we shared. She told us stories about my father, like stories about when he came back from World War II and what that was like. Just tremendous stories. We told her about our life. We laughed, we cried, we hugged. Here's God's grace, just incredibly working, and all these promptings brought us together. Just a wonderful experience. I'm also humbled, and I have to tell you this also, that she's my godmother, so it makes it extra special. Look how God works. Yes, it took 30 years for us to finally do something. God is very patient with us. As we move through Lent, maybe we have a situation where we need to forgive or we need to let go and let God work. So maybe we take this time to pray over these situations and take some action if we feel those promptings from the Holy Spirit. Jesus is looking at each one of us, just like that woman at the well today. How will we respond as he looks at us and he asks us to do something this Lent? I'd just like to thank you for these moments of being with you, and have a great rest of Lent, and God bless you.